The 12th season of Consider This is brought to you in part by From the Top, a national program showcasing the musical talents of young people. From the Top can be heard on KVNO Classical 90.7 each Saturday at 6 p.m.
Consider This, a program of issues and information behind today's news. Once again, from the campus of the University of Nebraska at Omaha, here is your host, Kathy Wyatt.
Take a look at these photographs. Smiling now, that wasn't always the case. In fact, they and individuals like them may have at one point feared for their lives. Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Wyatt. Welcome to this week's edition of Consider This. Our topic, refugees and one statewide organization's mission to make a difference. Here to talk more about it are Jeff Vandenberg, Program Manager for Lutheran Refugee Services, a division of Lutheran Family Services, and Dina Haki. From Iraq, Dina came to the United States on December 7th, 2007. Thank you both so much for joining us and welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Jeff, we will start with you. Tell us about Lutheran Family Services.
Lutheran Family Services is a statewide human service agency providing several different services to families in 30 different locations throughout the state of Nebraska and Council Bluffs, Iowa. We have three basic core competencies, the first being behavioral health, which will deal with mental health services, addiction services. We have children's services dealing with adoption, foster care, family support, and then the community division in which I'm under is community services. That has Lutheran Immigration Services providing legal services, Lutheran Refugee Services, International Center for the Heartland, and several other programs that work directly with immigrants and refugees.
Okay, and we do have a map of the state of Nebraska. You guys are scattered across. If you want to talk to us about your locations and how all of that came about.
Well, our main office, of course, is here in Omaha, 24th and Dodge. We have offices strategically placed throughout the state, responding to community needs for services. The Fremont office, we have the Children and Family Boutique, which is a new program working with expectant mothers. It's a very successful program, stretching all the way out to Ogallala and Lexington. In Lexington, we do have immigration services out there. Ogallala is providing some mental health services and things like that. We also have an office down in Kansas providing some of the same kinds of services.
Wow, okay, and you're with Lutheran Refugee Services.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us about that particular portion and what your role is with them.
Okay. As I mentioned, we're in the Community Services Division. In that division, there are 5 separate programs working primarily with immigrants and refugees. Lutheran Immigration Services providing legal services to immigrants and refugees in the state looking to adjust status, bring family members over from abroad. We have the AmeriCorps program, which works with AmeriCorps members in service to individuals in the community. We have the International Center for the Heartland, which is a United Way funded effort to work with newly arriving people coming into the community as a one-stop shop to help them find where to go for services. We have Employment First Services, which is the state's Welfare to Work program. We have 4 staff there working with refugees and immigrants, helping them navigate that system, and then the Refugee Services program, which I am the program manager of.
Okay, and how did you become involved with this organization?
I knew the CEO from a previous work that I had done, and I was looking to move on from children's services into something different, and she mentioned that we had an opening for a program manager for refugee services. And thankfully for the internet, I was able to find out as much as I could about refugee services, and I think did quite well in the interview.
Okay, very good, and now you're here to tell us a little bit more about that. What is your definition of a refugee?
Well, the definition as set down by the UNHCR, United Nations High Council on Refugees, is a refugee is someone who is outside of their home country, in another country. They're in fear of returning to their home country for various reasons. It may be persecution because of affiliation in a religious or political organization. It could be because of their race. It could be because of a natural disaster that's occurred. And for whatever reason, they are not able to return to their home country. Refugees then have a couple of options available to them. They can stay in that country in which they're at, seek asylum there, or they can move to a third country as a refugee.
Okay. How many do we have in the United States right now?
Those numbers, I think, were difficult for me to find an exact tally on the total number of refugees in the United States. The refugee program has been operating for several years, several decades. I can tell you that each year the President, in consultation with Congress, sets down a ceiling for refugees that are allowed for admission to the United States. The last several years that ceiling has been 80,000. Each of those years we've admitted between 45 and 50,000 refugees into the United States.
Wow. And what about Nebraska? How does that break out for the state?
Again, numbers are difficult to quantify. Since 2000, between 2000 and 2007, we've admitted just over 3,100 refugees to Nebraska. I think the key issue for Nebraska is not so much the primary refugees we resettle, but the secondary migration, that is, refugees who were resettled in one country and subsequently moved to the state of Nebraska. Those numbers are very difficult to track. The refugees will show up here, and unless they get on the radar for an agency such as ours that works directly with them, nobody will really know whether or not they're a refugee, whether or not they're a secondary migrant. And those numbers really drive up the total number of refugees that we have here in Nebraska.
Okay. And Jeff, you work with this obviously all the time. Paint a picture of the people that we are seeing, those numbers that you talked about. Mm-hmm. Who are these folks?
Oh, they vary widely. When I first started with the organization, we were resettling primarily Sudanese refugees. And as I speak to people about the work that I do, everyone seems to be familiar with the Sudanese refugees. It's always, oh, so you work with the Sudanese. We just resettled our first Sudanese family in over 2 years last week. So the face of the refugees has changed. I think the situations remain primarily the same. Right now we are working with refugees from Iraq, from Afghanistan. Our biggest group of refugees coming in right now to the United States and to Nebraska are refugees coming out of Burma. The Burmese, the Karen and Karenni ethnic minorities, so Southeast Asia. And just last year we started resettling Bhutanese refugees coming to us out of camps in Nepal.
Tell me about the behind-the-scenes stuff that is involved with this. Your job, there just must never be a dull moment with what you do. I mean, I guess give us an idea of what your day-to-day is like in all of this.
It really is, I think, quite daunting at times to think of the things that we are charged with doing for our families that are coming in. First and foremost, we have a cooperative agreement with 2 national agencies that do refugee resettlement. And that cooperative agreement is an extension with an agreement they have with the Department of State. We're required in that to provide very specific core services, the first being locating appropriate housing for the family and making sure that it's stocked for the family to be comfortable with. It's their starter home in Nebraska, so we make sure that there's furniture and plates and dishes and things like that. We meet them at the airport, greet them, take them to their new home, do a quick safety orientation. Sometimes our families have never been familiar or not familiar with some of the Western amenities, the refrigerators or stoves and things like that, so we're helping them understand quickly how to use those and how to be safe their first night in their apartment. We're taking children to schools, getting them enrolled in school, taking families for medical appointments. There are 3 basic medical appointments that we do to get the family started on getting immunizations current. We work with adults at getting them into ESL classes, getting their Social Security cards, finding employment. Refugees have a pretty short time frame in which to get employed and become what's termed self-sufficient, being able to cover their basic living expenses through employment.
Yeah, and you have to factor in too their emotional state in all of this as well. And
Absolutely.
For you to do your job is one thing. Mm-hmm. For you to extend and go beyond that, understanding really where they've, trying to understand where they've been and where it is that you want to help them go. That must be challenging.
It is. I think there's so much going on in the refugee's life before they travel, when they travel, and when they get here. Our core services are designed to be delivered in a 30 to 90 day period. And technically at the end of 90 days, in terms of our cooperative agreement, if we've fulfilled all of our core services, we're technically done working with the client. However, some of the clients are able to adapt that quickly with support systems they have here in the state or in the community in which they're resettled. Some are not. We don't ever really close a case on a family. Anytime a family needs assistance, no matter how long they've been here, they can come back to us. We find most often, I think, it's after a period of a year, we tend to see less and less of a family because they've gotten into the routine of their lives. They're able to go about their day-to-day activities. They know their way around the city. They've developed friendships and are able to figure things out on their own.
You must have an incredibly special team with whom you work to get all of this done, I would imagine.
I have an awesome team. They're some of the best people I've ever worked with. Extremely dedicated, willing to work for very little money, willing to work long days, responding to situations. We got a phone call the other day, somebody had live chickens in their basement, so responding to things like that that don't come up normally in anybody else's day-to-day life or day-to-day business. So those kinds of things help to kind of keep it fun, help to keep it challenging. It really is never a dull day.
Yeah, I can't imagine the job descriptions that are actually mapped out and how much you must deviate from those
exactly.
From time to time.
Exactly.
Dina, you have been sitting and waiting very patiently. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And you are here from Iraq.
Yes.
You have quite a story, from what I understand. If you could walk us through and then let us know if Jeff is accurate in all the stuff that he has said so far. But we really would like to hear your story.
Well, first of all, hi and assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum means greeting of peace, which is that's in my country. That means assalamu alaikum, just to start with. And my name is Dina Haki. I'm from Iraq. I used to work as an interpreter, assistant principal, and in a private school. This school belongs to my mother-in-law. And that was till until the war began, and everything was fine. And really, when the war started, we were very happy to get rid of the Saddam's regime, because everyone knows that he was dictator, and we want to get rid of him because he led us to that big war. Because of his big lie, because his big joke that he has nuclear, and he didn't have it. He didn't have it. At the beginning, everything was fine, and we were, at the beginning when we have primer time, everything was okay. Till the civil war started. Everything quickly and rapidly deteriorated, and the civil war started between Sunni and Shia. When I say Sunni and Shia, I don't mean Shia of Iraq, no, at all. I mean Shia belongs to the militiat of Iran, like Muqtada al-Sadr, which is typically 100% belong to Iran. This is our problem, and especially when President Bush announced that he will change the regime in Iran and Syria. Syria and Iran started to attack America in our land. So our land began to be as a battlefield in our country. So they began to attack the American soldiers. Everyone who want to attack the American soldiers, they began to attack it in our country, like Al-Qaeda, like the Iranian, like this, even everyone, all the Al-Qaeda, like Al-Zarqawi, everyone. They began to attack the American soldiers in our country, and they say that the Iraqi did that, which is no, not us at all. This is our problem, because all the borders were open. This is the problem, and it's not us. So our land began to be a battlefield for all these, and then started the civil war between Sunni and Shia Iran, not Shia Iraq. So we began to receive many threats, and life began to be very hard and very difficult. All that included the difficulties of life, which is very bad, all aspects of security in all aspects of security, like raping, kidnapping, and everything. So when you just drop your child, your daughter, I have two daughters and one son, in their schools, you never know whether they face a bomb, whether they face kidnapping, whether they face raping, you never know. But also that's one, it's easier than you will face, my husband, when he will face the civil wars during his job, because he's one of the famous industrial men in Iraq, and his factory, he has a detergent factory, and his factory is in a very famous Shiite district, industry district in Iraq. So this is the problem. He's also the only Sunni man in his factory. All the employee is Shiite. This is the problem. So he faced many threats, and he received many threats, but he ignored all these, because he all the time, he didn't keep in his mind that he will go outside the country. And you know, it's not easy decision. That's why when Jeff said refugee, what the difference between refugee and what's the refugee thing? Refugee is someone who didn't decide to go outside the country. It's when you take a decision like an immigrant, they decide to go outside the country. It's a plan to go outside the country. But refugee, it's just like that. You just fled from the country. You didn't decide for that. This is a problem. So when it's very difficult for him to believe for that threatened, so he just ignore it, because he don't want to believe of that. Even he have some afraid of that. It's not easy, but he can't believe it, so he just ignore it. And he even sometimes he doesn't really tell us about it. So don't be afraid of that. Don't let us afraid of that. And then at that, I feel the fear of him in his eyes, and also the awareness. But especially the day when his brother kidnapped him, one of the gangs kidnapped him, and he had to pay the ransom. Not the problem of the money, the problem how to go and pay the ransom, and he had to pay it with the car of the factory. So that's a bad point. They know the car, and they know the name of the factory, and also it's a bad point. They know that who is he. This is the problem. And then at the same day, at the same month, a bomb happened in my daughter's school. So everything happened at the same month. Things that began to be humiliated, and I couldn't tolerate it. I told him, okay, I can't tolerate it anymore. I go to Jordan and have some rest, because it's the end of the year. So he said, okay, you can go and have some rest, but I take you to Jordan, and then I come back, and just you can have the summer there, spend the summer and visit your family, because my mother and father, they are in New Zealand. They came back to visit us. He says, okay. So when he dropped us in Jordan, he came back to Iraq to run his factory. I've told him, okay. Just 2 days later, things began to get worse and worse rapidly. Manager of his factory, false checkpoint, captured him, and they captured him thinking that he is Imad, my husband. And they told him that they want to kill him, because thinking that he is Imad. But because the driving license and the title of the car under his name, because all the factory has the same, the same cars and the same title of and they wear the same uniform of the factory. So, but the manager, he is Shia, but Iraqi Shia. So he managed to release himself by using some Shi'i slang, language, some accents, and he mentioned some names. He's a very smart guy. He mentioned some names, and he referred to them. Some referrals go and ask these names. Maybe they know me. And they mentioned the names that he mentioned. I think it's worked because they released them, but here they released him, and also but they gave him a message. They told him, go and tell him that he's wanted, and we're going to kill him, because we know that the factory is he didn't close the factory, and this factory should be closed, because he's the owner and he's Sunni.
And you're still in Jordan at
Yes.
that time.
Yeah, at that time I was in Jordan.
So I need to fast forward just a little bit and talk about how it was that you then came over and wound up in Nebraska. So can you talk to us about how you eventually came here and met the people like Jeff?
Yes. Later on, when he told Imad that you should go, then he found a trust driver, and then the driver that he trusted, and he went to Jordan, so he joined us. Then we went from Jordan to Syria because it's very expensive, and he had invitation from a friend that he worked here as a prof, and he came here alone. I remained in Syria alone. So he was here, and I was in Syria. Then I enrolled in UN, UNCAR, United Nations. United Nations considered me a woman in danger. So they approved my case as a refugee, while my husband, he applied for asylum alone. And they didn't, at that time they didn't approve his case, because, they didn't approve it, only mine, they approved my case. So I came here for Nebraska, and they approved my case before his case. I came here as a refugee. And when I came here, I applied for him as a reunion, and they approved his case. And now we are reunion.
Oh, wonderful. And what do you think? I mean, you've been here for a little while now.
Yes,
Talk
only
to us about
1 year and 6 months.
not that you're counting, but 1 year and 6 months. Talk to us about what life has been like here, and really the transition, the extreme for you.
It's different life, especially at the beginning. But the wonderful thing is the reunion, whatever. The reunion after 1 year separating between me and my husband, and the difficult decision between, are we going to apply for asylum for him? You never know how much it will take, and then we get the correct decision, which is best, and then you reunion, and then they take the safe place, which is perfect, and then thanks God that it's a perfect place, which is you as the dream of everyone. So imagine how lucky we are, refugee in US.
And you mentioned, Dina, you mentioned children. Where are your
Yes,
children?
we have 3 children. I have 18 years old, Farah, which she is now, they admit her at UNO, and she got the scholarship of Susan Buffett, which is great, and she did her goal. Since we were in Iraq, she said, I will go to medical school and take my PhD at US. But God, I think He planned for her the best. She will start her medical school from here, from the beginning, which is good. And I have 16 years old. She's at Central High School.
Okay.
And she's now junior. And I have 9 years old, my Mohammed Hazan's son. He's gorgeous. He's gorgeous. And now you can't, when he is outside, you can make a difference between he or other American guy. No. Yes.
Jeff, what an amazing story. And this is what you do on a daily basis. You get to make quite a difference. Tell me who, Lutheran Family Services, Lutheran Refugee Services, with whom are you working? What are some of the organizations with whom you work to get families like Dina's here?
They adopted me. I came through Sudanese, Southern Sudanese, But I work with them, there is a program which is Employment First, as he mentioned. And through that program, I need to do work experience. So I did the work experience as a volunteer with their agency. And since then, they adopted me. So I did the volunteer, and I have the Volunteer of the Year 2008 in their agency. And since then, they adopted me. So, yeah.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. We appreciate it. And I know, Jeff, funding, obviously, something that is probably
Difficult.
something you're seeking
Right.
at all times. Talk to us a little bit in the brief amount of time that we have remaining. What types of events do you do to raise awareness and funds?
Well, every year, June 20th is recognized as World Refugee Day, and we do a very large celebration. The last couple of years it's been at Benson High School. We have a great partnership with Omaha Public Schools. World Refugee Day is designed to honor refugees, to recognize the contribution, to recognize the struggles that refugees have gone through, and that has been not so much a fundraising event as a community awareness event. It's gotten bigger and bigger every year, and it's just a good opportunity to get people interested in understanding that who these people are that are coming to Omaha, who these people are coming to Nebraska. One thing we are doing through Lutheran Family Services is August 1st at the Hilton down by the Quest Center. We will have Global Voices Evening, which is an opportunity, if it's a fundraiser for the Community Services Department, to celebrate the diversity that we have here in the state, to recognize that. There'll be people representing 30 different nations that are living here in Omaha and Nebraska. Our guest speaker is Mary Pfeiffer, who's written a book from the middle of nowhere regarding her refugee assistance experience. And that's a great opportunity, I think, for everyone to come and see the diversity, hopefully to support our program. Tickets are available at our website, www.lfsneb.org.
Okay, thank you. And Dina, in just the 30 seconds that we have left, define hope for me. And we have very limited time, but what is hope to you?
Well, I hope peace all over the world, especially for Iraq also. And I hope all my dreams, like my daughter to be a dentist, and also to find a job for my husband, to get settled, and then to go to Hajj, to thank God to be settled.
We wish you the very best, and we do have a graphic that we want to put up with more information for folks about Lutheran Family Services. It is www.lfsneb.org, phone number 346-6100. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it very much. Thanks to all of you for watching. We will see you next week.
Consider This is an issues and information program produced by UNO Television. More information and program archives can be found at untv.unomaha.edu. If you'd like to share your comments about this show, call UNO TV at 402-554-2516 during regular business hours.
The 12th season of Consider This is brought to you in part by From the Top, a national program showcasing the musical talents of young people. From the Top can be heard on KVNO Classical 90.7 each Saturday at 6 p.m.